So, just moments ago, and it says it right there, just now, if you will, Fightful Select on the Patreon put this article up, basically more information on CM Punk and what's going on there. And one of the things they mentioned, well, not in this article, but they mentioned in another one, is that TNA, Impact Wrestling, Anthem Sports mainly, offered him a very lucrative deal. Now, how much it was going to be? Well, apparently it was going to be huge. How huge? Well, there are reports, speculation that it may have been only for a few appearances, sporadically, here and there, but not for what, WWE is offering him and is going to give him instead. But yeah, reports are, Impact, did reach out to him and offer him a very rich deal, if you will, that he didn't take. Now, according to this, though, again, this is from Fightful Select's Patreon page. This is a little bit more of what they mentioned earlier. This is what they said, and I quote, "We noticed that Patreon has a feature that allows people to subscribe for free and be alerted when free posts go up. So Fightful Select has compiled a list of information regarding CM Punk's return that we've made public. To get a lot more info, including our SRS Punk Q&A from tonight, please subscribe." So they're basically gathering information that has been posted, subscribe-wise and free-wise, that they've made public. Either through the Fightful Select or the Fightful website or even Patreon, and even with the subscription portion of it. But this is what they said, and I quote. This is more CM Punk news, as you can see. This is more CM Punk news, and this is what they say, and I quote. Let me write this. All right. Here's what they say more about CM Punk, and I quote. "Punk and Triple H had an hour-long conversation over the last 2 weeks. That led to some mending of the fences. Fightful had indicated that..." Okay, let me read that. "Punk and Triple H had an hour-long conversation over the last 2 weeks that led to some mending of the fences. Fightful had indicated this last week, but didn't have appropriate secondary sourcing." So in other words, basically Triple H and Punk, got on the phone, maybe met face-to-face, we're not sure, maybe met via Zoom, we're not sure, and just talked things out and mended some wounds here and there that, I guess had been festering for quite some time. Let's not forget, Punk basically wasn't very fond of Triple H during his last run with the company, especially when he mentioned that, hey, when Vince croaks, he's going to leave the company to his son-in-law, or incompetent son-in-law and daughter, that will run it into the ground even more. So yeah, there was not any, great love between the two, but I guess that's all been fixed now. Now, continuing on, I quote, "WWE reps, talent, creative, and TKO execs and board did not know about Punk's return until during the Survivor Series main event, or right before it." So in other words, for anybody that's wondering, there are reports going around that talent was pulled aside, that some talent, if not most talent, was pulled aside and told, hey, Punk's coming in, he's going to come around the end of Survivor Series, so, we're just letting you know that right now. And of course, others, like the representatives of WWE, but mostly TKO execs, which includes Vince McMahon, did not know about Punk's return. The execs or the board, they did not know until the Survivor Series main event. Now, the only one out of that TKO group, Ari Emanuel, more than likely knew, because I'm sure Nick Khan talked to him and told him what they have planned, and he okayed it, because, hey, he's the boss now, he has final say, and if he knows, hey, this guy's a conversation piece, it's going to get people's attention, get them to watch the product, make money in return, he's all for it. Like I said, Ari Emanuel is a now guy, in my opinion. But yeah, some knew, some didn't. on all four fronts, from the reps, talent, creative, and TKO execs and board. You know, some knew, some didn't, and they're just going to go from there. I think Triple H said it best in the press conference. They're just going to go from here and see what happens. It continues on, and I quote, Punk walked back, okay, continuing on, and I quote, Fightful Select says, Punk walked through backstage in plain sight within a couple of minutes left in the main event. So basically, I would say 2 to 3 minutes left before they went home in the War Games match is when Punk showed up backstage. Continuing on. Triple H personally produced the last couple of minutes of the show, calling for the copyright graphic in Punk's theme. Talent involved were told just before the main event. So in other words, Seth Rollins knew about it, Drew McIntyre knew about it, Judgment Day knew about it, you know, Rhodes, Uso, Orton, you know, they knew about it. You know, they all knew Punk was showing up, which kind of confirms Seth's reaction, you know, when they went off the air to be more of a work. Because, you know, if you know, like I said earlier, or like I've said before, if you know people have legitimate history with each other, realistic history, you know that, hey, if you go the work route or work shoot route that could lead to a match, you got magic on your hands. You got magic on your hands. And I mentioned something like that in my video I did, the 40-minute video I did earlier. Continuing on, I quote, Drew McIntyre was legitimately upset by a number of things and sold to the back to maintain professionalism. It isn't all about the CM Punk, or it isn't all about CM Punk. He left the venue and was seen slamming the locker room door and cursing. You know, because there's a lot of things going on. And again, I mentioned this in a previous video. I think he probably thought they were going to go over, and then it got changed to Rhodes' team going over. Continuing on, Seth Rollins had not been fond of CM Punk. Many suspect he's in work mode. It doesn't appear anyone includes CM Punk in on that backstage. However, Backstage and Gorilla were told that Seth Rollins had to be ushered away by Triple H and Michael Cole, as he was not happy about Punk's appearance. Punk was said to have looked confused by it. So somebody didn't clue him in that, hey, Seth knows you're going to be here, and he's going to go into work shoot mode of being angry about it, and you're going to make it look real. So nobody clued him in. I'm sure they talked to Punk afterwards, and Punk probably understood, like, oh, okay, I get it. It was last minute. Probably didn't know. I get it. Continuing on. Triple H confirmed Fightful's timeline of reporting, saying that it didn't look like anything was going to happen and that the deal came together very quickly. He stated that anyone claiming to know Punk was coming in prior was speculating. So in other words, basically, everybody that, you know, heard, you know, here and there about what was going to happen, you know, all we were doing was guessing and wondering and even doubting until it happened. And finally, it says, WWE confirmed our report that Punk was set for Raw this week. There has been discussion of him being a free agent. In other words, it's not just going to be Raw he'll show up on. It could be SmackDown. And I imagine he'll show up doing a Bloodline segment. And can you imagine what Paul Heyman's reaction is going to be when that music hits? That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that's just all the information Fightful Select put out so far in an update of CM Punk being back with the company. You know, all the reactions, you know, surprised, you know, all that came along with it.